In a lush forest, Su Mo, who had just crossed, sat on an irregular blue stone, looking at the clear flowing stream in front of him, and his heart was almost filled with tears. Chapter 1. Kengda's System. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Chapter 1. Kengda's System. In a lush forest, Su Mo, who had just crossed, sat on an irregular blue stone, looking at the clear flowing stream in front of him, and his heart was almost filled with tears. Oh my goodness! How could there be such a damn system? Su Mo, a flyer from Earth. Before crossing over, Su Mo was originally an ordinary otaku, but one day, a mysterious voice suddenly rang out in his mind. This mysterious voice claims to be a certain system, saying that it has selected Su Mo, which can take Su Mo to travel to other worlds, and the system also comes with benefits. Su Mo can choose the world he wants to traverse on his own, as well as the time point he wants to traverse. At the same time, he can set his own physical condition and talents after crossing within the allowed range of the rules. Because before crossing over, Su Mo was chasing Douluo continent and was very unhappy with the plot inside. So Su Mo naturally chose to cross the Douluo continent, and at the same time chose to set the timeline for his crossing at the time when he met Bibidong and Yu Xiaojiang, but before he became familiar with them. He wants to stop all tragedies from happening. Although for some reasons, Su Mo set the age of his body after crossing the river at a slightly younger age of 6. But because he was very confident in the system, Su Mo still believed that he had the ability to prevent tragedy from happening. But after crossing over, Su Mo realized that he had thought everything too beautifully. Choosing Su Mo's system name as the memory modification system, Su Mo originally thought that the function of this system was to forcibly modify the target's memory. In this way, he can fully utilize the system and first enter the martial soul hall by showcasing his talents. Then modify Bibidong's memory to obtain a hardworking and beautiful confidant, and then brutally abuse the hypocritical Dashur Yu Xiaojiang. He has already thought of the script. But after crossing over and receiving the newbie gift package from the system, Su Mo found that the system had completely tricked him. That's right. The system that Su Mo obtained is called the memory modification system, which indeed has the function of forcibly modifying the target memory. But this system began to show various goodwill to Su Mo, and his sweet words completely deceived him, making him think that this system was an invincible flow system with various rewards given randomly. But Su Mo never expected that it was just like the principle that free things are the most expensive. In order to gain his trust, the memory modification system initially provided him with various benefits, but after time travel, the system suddenly revealed its true face and became extremely stingy. Other systems, such as lottery and redemption systems, offer normal rewards without castration. For example, the lottery system offers lottery opportunities, while the redemption system offers redemption opportunities. But what about Su Mo's memory modification system? Surprisingly, only one memory addition opportunity was given, and it can only be added on the basis of the target's original memory. Afterwards, it is necessary to change the world's storyline and harvest the power of the world in order to unlock more features and provide more opportunities for system usage. For such a situation, Su Mo was momentarily confused. He had no idea what he would do in the future if the system only provided such added memory once as his initial capital. Originally, before crossing, Su Mo's plan was to use the system's ability to collect Bibidong first, and then ruthlessly abuse Yu Xiaojiang. Afterwards, step by step through the system, subdue the various titles of Douluo in the Martial Soul Hall, take control of the entire Martial Soul Hall, and in the future, defeat the evil transmigrator Tang San, save many goddesses such as Xiao Wu, Hulaina, and Qian Renxue. Can you put up such a garbage system and play with it? Wait, the traveler originally, Su Mo was thinking in agony, but when he thought of the words Tang San and the traveler, a sudden inspiration flashed in his mind, as if he had thought of something. For a moment, with a storm of memories in his mind, Su Mo couldn't help but show an excited expression on his face and suddenly stood up. Haha! Got it! He finally thought of how to use the memory addition opportunity gifted by the system. Although Tang San is a traveler, unlike travelers like Su Mo, Tang San can only be considered a pseudo-traveler because he does not come from modern Earth. In some of the novels that Su Mo has read in his past life, there is also a special existence, like Tang San, who is a pseudo-interloper and a pseudo-reborn. However, unlike Tang San, these pseudo-travelers and pseudo-rebirths did not truly travel to other worlds or have been reborn. The interloper among them is just an indigenous person who has obtained a fictional memory deliberately instilled by a powerful existence, while rebirth is just a glimpse into the future. Since Su Mo had a chance to add memories, he could have created a pseudo-rebirth through his system's ability to add memories and draw gourds like this. Moreover, as long as the script I have constructed is good enough, for example, I choose to turn Bibidong into a pseudo-rebirth. Then I can completely make Bibidong give up his love for Yu Xiaojiang and fall in love with me by fabricating his memories before his rebirth. After his rebirth, he abandoned Yu Xiaojiang and pursued me instead. This is simply perfect. Thinking of this, Su Mo couldn't help but feel a surge of emotion. However, thinking of myself having read countless novels in my past life. But memory is something different from the plot of a novel. Memory has details, while the plot of a novel is only a rough idea. What should we do? Thinking of this, Su Mo couldn't help but feel a headache. The host only needs to set the memory, and the system will be responsible for refining the specific details. Just as Su Mo was having a headache, a cold sound suddenly sounded in his mind. Really? Sure. System, I didn't see you wrong. When Su Mo heard the system's words, he couldn't help but be overjoyed and laughed heartily, praising the system. System. Thinking of an idea that could perfectly utilize the memory addition function, Su Mo couldn't help but feel happy. He regained his good mood and prepared to leave. Because the place where Su Mo chose to descend was the mountains and forests near Nodding City, not far from Nodding City. And Su Mo also prepared a map in advance. So according to the map's guidance, Su Mo quickly broke away from the mountains and entered the city of Nodding. And arrived at Nodding City. Su Mo first found a restaurant and had his first meal after crossing the river. Then he found a hotel and settled down, intending to wholeheartedly develop a rebirth script for the goddess Bibidong from then on. More than a month passed in a blink of an eye. Su Mo pondered over the script for Bibidong's rebirth every day, and after spending over a month, he finally completed it. Haha! It's successful. One night, Su Mo, lying on the hotel bed, finally completed the rebirth script prepared for Bibidong and couldn't help but laugh happily. System, now add this memory to Bibidong's place. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Reborn Bibidong. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2. Reborn Bibidong. At night, the moonlight is like water. In the martial Seoul city. In a low-key and luxurious room, a soft king bed is placed in the center of the room. And around the king bed was a layer of snow-white gauze curtains, and on the bed was a layer of pure white sheets and a purple velvet sheet. You can vaguely see a young girl with long pale purple hair lying on the bed, her beautiful sleeping face full of tranquility, clearly asleep. But suddenly, for some unknown reason, the delicate and beautiful face of the young girl surprisingly showed a look of pain and struggle, and the jade hand hidden under the sheets also clenched tightly, as if experiencing a nightmare. No. In no time, accompanied by an unwilling shout, the girl couldn't help but suddenly open her eyes and sat up from the bed in an instant. The whole person couldn't help but gasp fiercely, and sweat trickled down from her beautiful face, soaking the purple velvet sheets under her body. Where is this? Awakening from the endless darkness and looking at the familiar yet unfamiliar scenery around him, Bibidong couldn't help but mutter to himself in a daze, his heart filled with disbelief. Isn't she already dead? Died under the Shura demon sword of Tang San. How did she come back to life? And where is this place? Why does she feel so familiar? Wait. As if thinking of something, Bibidong's face suddenly changed and he couldn't help but lift the blanket. He quickly got up from the nearby dressing table and picked up a mirror, which he placed in front of him. And when he saw the pure and beautiful familiar face in the mirror, Bibidong was stunned. How could it be that she actually went back to her youth? What is this? Is she reborn in the future, or has she had a nightmare about the future now? No. This can't just be a dream. Thinking of everything he had experienced, Bibidong gritted his teeth and shook his head fiercely. She doesn't believe it, everything in her memory is fake. Whether it's the teacher Qian Sunji who is inferior to beasts, the hypocritical and selfish Yu Xiaojiang, or the daughter Qian Rengshu who makes her feel indebted for a lifetime. Everything is so real and not illusory. Of course, what impressed her the most was unforgettable, and even regretful for a lifetime. He was the one who blocked her deadly attack and died in her arms. Before dying, he even caressed her face, saying that he had always liked her and didn't want to be her younger brother. He only wanted to be his man. But if all of this is not a dream, then there is only one explanation, and that is that she has been reborn from the future. And it was reborn before all the tragedies happened. Thinking of this, Bibidong couldn't help but clench his jade hand, his heart filled with excitement. If that's really the case, that would be great. In this lifetime, she can never be as foolish as before. That Jade Xiaojiang is not worth her love at all. She has sacrificed so much for him, repeatedly forgiving him and the people around him. But what did he give her in return? Naturally, she came to her door and asked her to help the enemy's son. But she refused, only saying that she had already taken action against her enemy's son, and he put on a fierce look, swearing to make her regret. He. This man is so self-centered, never considering issues from her perspective, selfish and hypocritical. But she only saw through it before she died. In this life, she swore to take revenge on this selfish, hypocritical, and shameless guy. After venting his anger towards Yu Xiaojiang in his heart, Bibidong couldn't help but think of the person who sacrificed himself and ultimately died in her arms, making it unforgettable for her. Mo, where are you now? Bibidong felt melancholy in his heart, his eyes complex as he thought. Mo was a young man she met when she gave birth to her daughter Qian Rengshu after being insulted by her teacher Qinshuan's illness, and later traveled to mainland China to relax. Originally, she was just on a whim and brought it back to the martial soul hall, but unexpectedly, she awakened her powerful martial soul and revealed her extraordinary talent. In order to seek revenge, upon discovering Mo's extraordinary talent, she was overjoyed and adopted him as her younger brother. But in fact, she just wanted to use it as a tool for revenge. However, she didn't expect that Mo had been silently liking her and even willing to die for her in the end. And it was only after Mo's death, after learning about his love, and in endless pain and regret, that Bibidong finally understood his inner self. People are not plants and trees, who can be ruthless. In countless years of daily interaction, she actually developed feelings for this handsome, talented, and caring younger brother. But all along, her heart has been blinded by hatred. And because of the insult from teacher Qinshuan's illness, she closed her heart. She only regards the unattainable Yu Xiaojiang as the only pure land in her heart, and places all the beauty and longing for love on her, but neglects the people around her who love her and the ones she should love. But after going through so much, she finally realized a question. Does she really like Yu Xiaojiang, who is not stunning in appearance, not good at speech, and only gets what she wants from her without giving anything? Is this love, or is it simply because she couldn't ask for it, that it caused her to excessively beautify her love for Yu Xiaojiang? Unfortunately, she found out too late. But now, it's not too late. Thinking that he had already been reborn, Mo must still be alive. Bibidong couldn't help but pick himself up, took a deep breath in his heart, and made up his mind. In this life, she not only needs to fiercely retaliate and torture that selfish, hypocritical and shameless Yu Xiaojiang, but also needs to quickly find Su Mo. In the previous life, it was Su Mo who silently cared for her, sacrificed for her, and died for her. In this life, it's her turn to truly give for him. But where is Su Mo now? Thinking about Su Mo's current whereabouts, Bibidong couldn't help but feel a headache. She remembered that Su Mo had told her before that he should have mentioned his current whereabouts in his life before he met her. But because time is too far away, she can't remember it at all now. However, despite this, Bibidong still did not give up. She believes she will definitely remember it, but it just takes some time. While pondering Su Mo's current location in bed, Bibidong unconsciously fell asleep. And when I opened my eyes again, time had already arrived in the morning. The faint morning light was shining through the window, scattering onto the room, illuminating a basin of green vines placed by the window with a vibrant emerald green. Is it already morning? After waking up, he saw the scene outside the window. The scorching sun had just risen, and Bibidong sat up from the bed. After silently organizing his current memories, he put on his clothes, got out of bed, and left the room. "Hello, Your Highness the Virgin." Outside the room, when Bibidong came out, a maid who was busy in the courtyard turned around and respectfully bowed to Bibidong. Regarding this, Bibidong just nodded lightly and left. "How do you feel that Your Highness is a bit strange?" Watching Bibidong leave, the maids behind couldn't help but feel a bit strange, because today Bibidong feels a bit cold, but his former highness was very kind and lively. Bibidong is unaware of this. But she doesn't care either. There is a big difference in her personality between the future and the present, and she cannot hide it. However, who can say that personality is completely unchanging? But sometimes it becomes colder. Anyway, as long as she doesn't show too much difference from what she has always been. After waking up and washing up, Bibidong finished breakfast, wiped his mouth with a beautiful purple scarf, and then prepared to practice, actually continuing to recall Su Mo's whereabouts. Last night, she had already thought of some ideas. Today, as long as she continues to think for a while and organizes the memories in her mind, she should be able to think of them soon. "You guys tidy up, I'm going to practice now." After giving orders to the maid, Bibi stood up and prepared to leave. But just then, a maid walked over from outside the door and stood not far away, respectfully saying to Bibidong, "Your Highness, there are guests looking for you outside the door." End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Men, be hard on yourself. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Men, be hard on yourself. Guest, what guest? Upon hearing the maid's words, Bibidong felt somewhat puzzled. In the past, although she was very popular in the martial Soul City due to her kind personality, she also resisted Soul Masters because she didn't like to fight. And the Soul Master is the most in the martial Soul City, who would come to visit her. The guest said his name is Yu Xiaojiang and also said, "Your Highness, you promised him yesterday and today you will talk to him." The maid respectfully answered, "Yu Xiaojiang." Upon hearing this name, Bibidong suddenly understood it and sneered in his heart. So it's him. No wonder. She said, who will come to visit her when they have nothing to do. If it were this guy, it would be normal. Thinking of the past, my pure and kind self met this guy through books and eventually fell in love with him. But she has contributed an unknown amount to it, and it is unknown how much of her future martial soul theory was developed with her help. But when it was published in the future, she was not mentioned at all. Even if her name was not mentioned, she was only replaced by an anonymous name and a friend. At that time, she should have seen her selfish personality. You let him go, just say that I have something to do recently and must intensify my cultivation. I don't have time to go to the library. As for the agreement with him, let's talk about it later when we have time. After a sneer in his heart, Bibidong said calmly. Although there is a lot of hatred towards Yu Xiaojiang now, Bibidong has no intention of immediately killing him. He wants to retaliate against someone. Killing is the simplest but also the lowest level. Just killing is too cheap for Yu Xiaojiang. She wants her future to be ruined by her reputation and betrayal, experiencing the same pain as her. This is the best way to retaliate. Yes. After Bibidong finished giving orders, the maid slowly retreated and left. On the other side, outside the St. Mary's mansion where Bibidong is located, a young man wearing a black bachelor's uniform, with half a long short hair and an ordinary face, was standing at the door waiting with a notebook in one hand. When the maid who went in to inform him returned, the young man or Yu Xiaojiang quickly walked up and asked, "May I ask, where is your saint?" "Your Excellency, please go back. Your Highness has something to do recently and needs to hurry up to practice. He doesn't have time to go to the library to read books. As for the agreement with you, let's discuss it later when we have time." Regarding Yu Xiaojiang's inquiry, the maid politely spoke and reached out to ask this. Upon hearing these, Yu Xiaojiang was immediately stunned. However, Yu Xiaojiang had no choice but to turn around and leave helplessly. But on the way back, Yu Xiaojiang was puzzled by it. How could there be no time? According to his understanding of Bibidong's daily life and personality after meeting him during this period, Bibidong is not particularly diligent in cultivation. Since graduating from the Advanced Soul Master Academy of the Martial Soul Hall. During the day, especially in the morning. When there are no assigned tasks in the Martial Soul Hall, Bibidong would choose to go to the library to read books, occasionally go out to play, and only practice at night. He only met Bibidong in the library. He came specifically this morning, and according to his understanding of Bibidong, he should have had time to do so, after all, no matter what. Yesterday, after learning that he had always wanted to go to the upper level of the library to read books, but was unable to do so, Bibidong took the initiative and enthusiastically expressed that he would take him to the higher level to read books, and he should have arranged a time in advance. Even if it is urgent, it cannot be fulfilled. With the other party's gentle and kind personality, they should also personally come forward and apologize to themselves. How could they only let the maid come forward and let him leave? Is it because my true intention to approach her was discovered? Thinking of this, Yu Xiaojiang couldn't help but feel a tightness in his heart, with a cold sweat on his back. But on second thought, Yu Xiaojiang shook his head hard again. That's not right either. Although he had developed a desire to make use of Bibidong, he didn't know Bibidong on his own initiative, but when he was reading a book, Bibidong took the initiative to find him. Afterwards, after learning about Bibidong's identity, he thought of bringing his emotions closer and using Bibidong to read the hidden books of the Martial Soul Hall that were not publicly disclosed. But during this period, in the process of becoming familiar with Bibidong, he did not show any other intentions compared to Bibidong, except for showing his love for reading. And enjoying reading should not be considered a bad goal. As for asking Bibidong to take him to the upper level of the Wuhuan City Public Library, this was also something he pretended to casually propose during his conversation with Bibidong about reading. He only expressed a regret that could not be overcome, but did not request it. It was entirely because Bibidong voluntarily expressed his intention to take him there. It should have been just an accident. After Saint Bibidong left yesterday, she received a request from the Martial Soul Hall to practice quickly. After reminiscing repeatedly and realizing that he probably didn't show his horse's feet, Yu Xiaojiang couldn't help but think to himself. But there are other possibilities. Yu Xiaojiang thought to himself again. It's also possible that I acted too hastily and shouldn't have rushed to the door, asking Bibidong to take me to the upper level of the library. This was too purposeful. We must learn a lesson next time. Yu Xiaojiang secretly swore. On the other side, in the city of Notting, thousands of miles away from Seoul City. After writing the script for Bibidong, in order not to reveal any flaws, Su Mo quickly spent all his money and left Nodding City to start a wandering life. According to the script written for Bibidong, he set his background and wandered around the mainland. At the beginning, Su Mo was not used to being a beggar, sleeping outdoors and begging people around. After all, from childhood to adulthood, he had never experienced such hardship before. But thinking that only in this way could he obtain the love of his beloved goddess Bibidong, Su Mo gritted his teeth and persevered, starting to struggle for survival. Unconsciously, Su Mo had also become accustomed to this kind of life. Sometimes, it has been proven that human potential is indeed infinite. When you are extremely hungry, picking up garbage to eat and competing with wild dogs for food is really nothing. In extreme hunger, all emotions such as shame can be completely forgotten. After experiencing a wandering life, Su Mo felt like he had undergone a complete transformation. Now he can fully play the role of Su Mo in the script written for Bibidong, just when he met Bibidong. Men, it seems we still need to be tough enough on ourselves. As the saying goes. No poison, no husband. Not ruthless. What kind of man is this? End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Bibidong's Plan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4 Bibidong's Plan. When Su Mo followed the script given to Bibidong and began wandering around the Douluo continent. On the other side, in the martial Seoul city. After several days of contemplation, Bibidong finally thought of several places where Su Mo might be now. However, as the holy maiden of the martial Seoul Hall, Bibidong cannot leave the martial Seoul city casually. And unlike the silly and sweet self before, Bibidong's mind has become particularly meticulous now. Her personality had already undergone some changes due to her rebirth, which may have caught the attention of those around her. Now, she doesn't want to show any abnormalities and attract attention. After some thought, Bibidong quickly came up with a perfect reason to leave the martial Seoul city and go find Su Mo. That is to quickly cultivate to level 50, leave the martial Seoul city under the pretext of hunting soul beasts in the Star Do forest, and then return under the pretext of distraction, go to several places where Su Mo may be now, and see if he can be found. After making this plan, Bibidong devoted himself to practicing in seclusion for a period of time afterwards. During this period, Yu Xiaojiang has been keeping an eye on Bibidong. After discovering that Bibidong had not gone out since then, he had been devoting himself to cultivation at home, which couldn't help but make Yu Xiaojiang feel relieved. It seems that Bibidong did indeed receive the task from the martial Seoul Hall and devote himself to cultivation, rather than discovering that he had a problem. His plan to use Bibidong to explore the hidden books in the martial Seoul Hall should still have a chance to be realized. And in a blink of an eye, several months passed. After several months of dedicated cultivation, Bibidong was already exceptionally talented. After being reborn, he worked even harder and quickly advanced from level 49 to level 50. Finally broke through. In a cultivation room, as his cultivation level exceeded 50, Bibidong, wearing a light purple long dress and meditating cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes, which were as beautiful as amber, filled with excitement and joy. Now you can apply to go out and hunt soul beasts. After breaking through her cultivation, Bibidong stood up immediately. Even with her current cold temperament, she couldn't hide her joy and turned around to leave the quiet room, ready to apply to go out and hunt soul beasts. On the Douluo continent, in order to obtain the best lifespan soul ring, it is often necessary to hunt soul beasts with far greater strength than soul masters, which undoubtedly requires the help of a master. So in the martial Seoul Hall, if you want to hunt soul beasts, you will basically apply for help. And after Bibidong applied to hunt soul beasts. The next day, someone notified Bibidong to go see Qian. Your Highness, the Pope has sent you to meet him. Old. Does Qian, this beast, still want to see me? Upon learning the news from the maid, Bibidong's eyes couldn't help but become somewhat complicated. In his past life, if we were to say who Bibidong hated the most, it would undoubtedly be Chihiro's illness. As Bibidong's most trusted teacher, Chihiro not only destroyed Bibidong's love, but also severely tormented Bibidong's soul and body, allowing him to experience the darkest moments of his life. It can be said that the kind-hearted Bibidong in his past life was completely killed by Chihiro-ji, and then the blackened Bibidong wished he had eaten Chihiro-ji raw. After seeing the true face of Xiaojiang, Bibidong, who had been reborn, couldn't help but think. Is it my own fault in my past life? It was because I was too foolish to elope with Xiaojiang, which made teacher Qian furious and led to all tragedies. But soon, Bibidong rejected this idea. No. It's definitely not my own fault. In my past life, I was certainly at fault. I was deceived by Xiaojiang, a scumbag, and in the end, I was ungrateful and decided to abandon the martial soul hall where I was trained and elope with him. But even if I made another mistake in my past life, even though my teacher Qian was sick, there were better ways to prevent me from making mistakes. For example, first imprison oneself, then drive away Xiaojiang, and then use Xiaojiang to threaten oneself not to continue contact with him, so that's enough. But how did Qian, this beast, do it? Thinking of the tragedy that happened in his past life, Bibidong was so hateful that he made up his mind. In this life, she will never let go of Chihiro's illness. However, of course, she doesn't have the ability to seek revenge yet, so she still needs to hibernate first. After receiving the news that the teacher Qian wanted to see him, Bibidong tidied up his mood and adjusted his emotions before rushing to the Pope's residence. And all the way, we arrived at the Papal Palace located on the central peak of Wuhuan City. After entering the magnificent hall, I looked at Qian, who was sitting on the throne at the end of the hall, dressed in a golden robe, with long golden hair, handsome face, and a warm smile at the corner of his mouth. He looked very impressive. A wave of anger instantly rose in Bibidong's heart. This beast really knows how to pretend. In my past life, I always regarded him as my closest relative and thought he was a gentle and kind teacher, but to my surprise, his heart was extremely dirty. In this life, I will not be deceived again. Although he was extremely angry in his heart, Bibidong still tried his best to remain the same as before, bowing slightly to Qian, pretending to be innocent and saying, "Bibidong has met the teacher. Hehe, Donger, you don't need to be polite. I heard you have exceeded level 50. Congratulations, you are now the youngest reserve soul king in our martial soul hall." As for Bibidong's inner thoughts, Qian naturally didn't know. Looking at the innocent and lovely disciple in front of him, Qian remained the same as before, smiling and saying, "They are all cultivated well by the teacher." For Chihiro's praise, Bibidong naturally showed a humble and unabashed attitude, showing no willingness to take credit. Haha. This is all the result of your own efforts. Since you have exceeded level 50, then you should go hunt down soul beasts and absorb soul rings. Tell me, who would you like to take you to the Star Do Forest to hunt down soul beasts? Qian didn't care about Bibidong's humility, but smiled directly and asked who Bibidong wanted to take him to hunt soul beasts. As a saint, Bibidong is naturally different from ordinary members of the Martial Soul Hall. Ordinary members of the Martial Soul Hall break through, and if they want to go out and hunt soul beasts, they not only need to apply for help, but also have to wait for several days until the Martial Soul Hall arranges a suitable soul master with time and strength to take them to hunt soul beasts. But Bibidong can choose who to take to hunt soul beasts. In fact, if it weren't for Chihiro's busy schedule, Qian himself would take Bibidong to hunt soul beasts in the Star Do Forest. I want Elder Chrysanthemum and Elder Ghost to take me to hunt soul beasts. Because for the powerful soul masters in the Martial Soul Hall, Bibidong was most familiar with the Ju Douluo Moon Pass and the Ghost Douluo Ghost. Therefore, upon hearing Qian's words, Bibidong, who had already prepared for it, respectfully spoke up. Moon Pass and Ghosts. Okay, I'll have someone call them both over now. Their two abilities are Soul Douluo, because they can use the martial soul fusion technique of 2E static field to protect Donger. You must be more than enough. Let them take you to hunt soul beasts, I am very confident. Upon learning that Bibidong was going to let Ju Douluo Moon pass and Gue Douluo Ghost take him to hunt soul beasts, Qian thought for a moment and immediately smiled and said. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Departure and Goodbye. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Departure and Goodbye after seeing Qianxuan's illness. The next day, as an ordinary elder in the martial soul hall with only soul Douluo level cultivation, Moon Pass and Ghosts came to pay their respects and prepared to set off with Bibidong to the Star Do Forest. I have seen Your Highness the Virgin. We have been ordered by the Pope to take Your Highness to the Star Do Forest to hunt soul beasts. It is estimated that this trip will take at least half a month. I wonder if Your Highness is ready. Waiting in front of the gate of the mansion where Bibidong is located. When she saw Bibidong come out, Yueguan and the ghost immediately bowed slightly to Bibidong, and then Yueguan asked politely in a soft voice. Please rest assured, two elders. I have already prepared everything that needs to be prepared. I will trouble the two elders for my trip. Looking at the two acquaintances in front of him, who were still ordinary elders and had not yet become worshipped, Bibidong felt a hint of complexity in his heart, but his beautiful and pretty face still wore a smile. He first bowed back and then politely replied. Then let's go. After receiving Bibidong, Yuguan and the ghost immediately took Bibidong to the street. On the street, the carriage taking Bibidong to the Star Forest is ready. The Star Do Forest is not close to the martial soul city, although with the cultivation of Bibidong, Yuguan, and Gue, the journey is undoubtedly faster than taking a carriage. But as a saint, Bibidong undoubtedly fits her identity better by riding a carriage. And after sending Bibidong onto the carriage, Yuguan and Gue also rode on a half-soul beast called a unicorn horse specially cultivated by the martial soul hall, leading Bibidong's carriage to the Star Do Forest. 3 days later. In the inner circle of the starry forest, amidst the dense forest, 3 figures are rapidly shuttling through the forest, one behind the other. In front of the 3 figures, a completely black, covered in dark purple patterns, with many scars all over its body, and emitting green blood, is running away at an extremely fast speed. And while running for his life, this cave spider kept drilling towards various rugged terrain, hoping to shake off the pursuers behind him. But unfortunately, looking at the fleeing underground spider ahead, the ghost kept drinking coldly, raised its right hand, and then launched its 4th soul skill one after another. Ghost Shadow. A black vortex of soul power condensed in the right hand, constantly releasing ghostly shadows, howling and attacking the fleeing burrow spider. Faced with the constant release of ghostly attacks from the 4th soul skill of ghosts, the decision of the burrow spider to flee to rugged terrain became a mistake, and the space for avoidance became smaller and smaller. The 5th soul skill, Ghost Shadow Earth Pool Hand. In the end, after catching a flaw in the burrow spider, the ghost suddenly let out a cold drink again and instantly activated the 5th soul skill. Ghost Shadow Earth Pool Hand. For a moment, only the shadow under the ghost spirit's body spread out, enveloping the body of the cave magic spider. Then, countless pitch-black ghost hands continued to extend, firmly controlling the cave magic spider in place. Good opportunity. Seeing the ghost using its ghostly underworld hand to control the burrow spider, Yuguan's eyes lit up and she instantly activated her soul technique, ready to control the burrow spider. 5th soul skill. Gathering of Cold Heroes. For a moment, as Yuguan raised his right hand, the Qi Rong Tong Tian Ju martial soul suspended on his right hand suddenly burst out with a golden light, countless petals falling off in an instant, flashing cold light like sharp blades, howling in the air, turning into a tornado sweeping towards the underground magic spider. Hush! After being shrouded in a tornado transformed by the petals of the Qirong Tong Tian chrysanthemum, facing the cutting of countless sharp petals, the burrow spider was quickly severely injured and collapsed to the ground with a mournful roar. "Your Highness, it's your turn next. This 10,000-year-old burrow spider is very suitable for your Highness's requirements in terms of age. If your Highness thinks it's good, go kill it." After successfully being seriously injured and subduing the burrow spider in front of her, Guan couldn't help but look at Bibidong, who rushed behind and said, "I understand." For the suggestion from Guan, Bibidong did not refuse. Before and after walking, he took out a sharp dagger and killed the dungeon spider, absorbing its soul ring in place. After spending several hours, Bibidong finally absorbed the soul ring of this burrow spider. The mission of hunting soul beasts this time can be declared completed. However, as he left the starry forest, Bibidong on the way asked the Moon Pass and the Ghost. "Elder Chrysanthemum and Elder Ghost, our process of hunting soul beasts went smoothly this time. Going back like this would be a waste of this opportunity. Can I take a stroll around the surrounding cities?" Upon hearing Bibidong's request, both the Moon Pass and the Ghost couldn't help but hesitate. As elders, they are tasked with taking Bibidong out to hunt soul beasts. After completing the mission, for safety reasons, they must want to bring Bibidong back as soon as possible. But they cannot ignore Bibidong's request either. After all, the girl in front of them is the saint of their martial soul hall. Even if she cannot serve as the Pope of the martial soul hall in the future, with her twin martial souls and innate soul power talent, her position in the martial soul hall is definitely extremely noble. If possible, they also want to please Bibidong. In the end, Guan and the Ghost agreed to Bibidong. Because in their view, with their strength, they can completely protect Bibidong's safety, just strolling around the surrounding cities should not be a problem. Afterwards, after leaving the Star Forest, Bibidong was granted the opportunity to visit other cities before returning to the martial soul city. According to the several cities that Sumo might be in now, Bibidong rushed over in order of distance. Unfortunately, from the nearest Molan city, to Dunding city, and even to Blackrock city, Bibidong did not see any trace of Sumo, which made him extremely anxious. "What's going on? Why haven't you seen Xiaomua in 3 consecutive cities? Did I remember wrong? Or is it that I found the wrong time? But I don't think so. I stayed in every city for at least 3 days. I clearly remember that Xiaomua once said that although he would go out of the city to search for food if he had something to do, he would return to the city before the evening because the wilderness was too dangerous. Now we can only see if we can find Xiaomua in the final city of Lanto." Bibidong clenched his jade hand tightly. "And riding in a carriage, after arriving at the city of Lanto. Your Highness, should we take a stroll around this city first?" As they entered the city of Lanto, the driver of the carriage turned to inquire about Bibidong inside the carriage, following the previous requirements for entering several cities. "Well, let's take a look first." Bibidong felt a little nervous in his heart, but he took a deep breath, lifted the curtains, pretended to admire the city, and replied without any abnormalities. "Okay, Your Highness the Virgin." After receiving Bibidong's order, the driver of the carriage immediately responded and shook the reins in his hand, starting to ride the carriage along the streets of Lanto City. Behind him, Moon Pass and the Ghost rode a unicorn horse, closely following behind. No. Still not. Sitting behind the carriage, constantly looking around at the streets, there was hardly any trace of beggars on the main street. However, in the branching alleys and some sparsely populated streets, although beggars could be seen, they were not Sumo, and Bibidong couldn't help but become increasingly disappointed. But just when Bibidong thought that this time he might come back with no success, in a nearby alley, suddenly came a crazy barking of dogs. "Go and take a look." Upon hearing the sound, Bibidong couldn't help but feel a stir in his heart and immediately asked the coachman to rush over. And when we arrived at the entrance of the alley, when I saw a dimly lit alley next to a trash can, A little boy with tattered clothes and disheveled hair was leaning against the trash can, holding a wooden stick in one hand and a bag of obviously discarded bread in the other. He was nervously confronting two stray dogs while pursing his lips. In the carriage, Bibidong couldn't help but be taken aback for a moment, then covered his mouth with his hand, his eyes turned red, and a sour feeling surged out of his heart. Yes. It's Xiaomao, I finally found you. End of this chapter. From chapter 6 onwards, you can become my younger brother. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Under the dim yellow sunset. In a dimly lit alley, Su Mo, who was already starving to the point where his stomach was burning like fire, leaned against the trash can while trying to minimize the areas where his body could be attacked. On one hand, he was holding a bag of discarded black bread, while on the other hand, he was tightly gripping a long wooden stick. His whole body was tense, and his eyes stared fixedly at the two stray dogs in front of him, with dirty hair, pressing forward step by step. Damn it. I finally found a relatively clean food, but you guys want to compete with me too. With his eyes fixed on the two grinning stray dogs in front of him, Su Mo thought fiercely in his heart. Although he was a helpless otaku in his past life, Su Mo has been wandering for several months and has experienced many things, during which he can be said to struggle between life and death. Su Mo has already undergone a transformation and is no longer a weak otaku. In addition, after crossing over, although the set body age is only 6 years old. However, in terms of physique, Su Mo forcibly elevated him to the level of a teenager, combined with the subtle influence of his martial soul on his body. Even though Su Mo's current condition is not good, possessing weapons is not something that just two stray dogs can threaten. However, of course, in order to drive away these two stray dogs unharmed, Su Mo still needs to concentrate all his attention and not be negligent at all. And it was precisely because of this that Su Mo did not notice the magnificent carriage stopping by the alley. Uncle Lin, could you please make way for me? I need to get off the car. On the other side, on the carriage, when he found Su Mo, Bibidong couldn't help but suppress his excitement and urgency and said to the sole master driving the carriage. Your Highness, are you here to help that little boy? Upon hearing Bibidong's words, Uncle Lin, the coachman, was momentarily taken aback and then couldn't help but ask. Well, don't you think Uncle Lin is very pitiful? I want to take him back to the Martial Soul Hall. Bibidong let out a light hum and replied. That child is really lucky to be chosen by your highness. Upon hearing that Bibidong was going to take Su Mo back to the Martial Soul Point, Uncle Lin couldn't help but scratch his head and quickly got off the carriage while speaking. However, he was not too surprised by Bibidong's answer, as his innocent and kind personality is well known in the Martial Soul City. After Uncle Lin got off the carriage, Bibidong quickly reached out his jade hand and lifted the door curtain, leaving the carriage. After jumping off the carriage, he took a deep breath and walked towards the alley. Meanwhile, in the alley. After a standoff, the two hungry stray dogs, as they were pressing against Su Mo step by step, could no longer hold back. In a burst of low growls, they suddenly rushed towards Su Mo, one left and one right. Go to hell. But in the face of the attacks from two stray dogs, Su Mo did not flinch, but turned sideways and shouted angrily. Suddenly pushing the trash can behind him towards the left, all kinds of garbage tilted to the ground, and at the same time, fiercely hitting the wooden stick on his right hand towards the waist of the stray dog rushing towards him on the right. In his past life, Su Mo once heard online that wolves are creatures with steel skin, iron bones, and tofu waste. Although dogs are not wolves, both belong to the canine family, so Su Mo feels that their weaknesses should be similar. It has been proven that Su Mo's ideas are not wrong. Under Su Mo's full force strike, the stray dog that rushed from the right was immediately hit in the waist, emitting a mournful howl. It instantly flew backwards, flying several meters in a row, falling to the ground and rolling several times. After being pulled out, the stray dog struggled to get up, but the excruciating pain from its waist could only make it mourn, and its body could no longer stand up. And seeing the tragic situation of this stray dog. The other stray dog, who was stopped by the trash can pushed down by Sumo and was unable to launch an attack on Sumo in the first place, was immediately frightened. After a whine, it quickly turned around and ran away. Finally, I've been driven away. I'll have some dog meat to eat later, and I'm pretty lucky. After seeing the stray dog on the left turn around and run away, Sumo couldn't help but wipe the sweat off his forehead with his dirty sleeves, feeling relieved in his heart. However, soon after, a sound of footsteps came from not far away, which made Sumo instinctively turn his head and look over. I saw a woman wearing a gorgeous pink dress, with long light purple hair and amber eyes, slender legs, slender waist, and a delicate and charming figure. She walked slowly towards Sumo with a gentle smile on her face. Although he had never seen her before, seeing the woman instantly reminded Sumo of someone in his mind. That's Bibidong. And he also believed that the beautiful woman in front of him who looked at him gently, seemingly indifferent to his current appearance, must be Bibidong. Has Donger finally found me? After several months of wandering, Sumo found that Bibidong had finally found himself, and his heart was naturally both excited and moved. However, according to the script, Sumo knew that he could not show any hint of joy, but rather had to remain vigilant. Because according to the script given to Bibidong, he is now an orphan who has been wandering for many years, experiencing hardships and suffering, including some from humans. This keeps him alert to everyone. According to the script, when Sumo saw Bibidong walking towards him, he couldn't help but feel nervous. He clenched the stick in his hand, moved his steps lightly, and retreated. You. Don't be nervous, I won't hurt you. My name is Bibidong, and you can call me Donger sister. I'm here to take you out of here. Follow me, I'll take you home. From now on, my home will be your home, and I'll treat you well. Discovering that Sumo was actually avoiding him, and recalling the love Sumo had given him before his rebirth, without expecting anything in return, Bibidong's heart suddenly felt a bit sour. However, he still tried to calm his mood, showing a gentle smile, trying to appease Sumo. But unfortunately, the excitement inside made her very nervous. The once cunning and majestic female pope is no longer what she used to be. Bigmei seeing that Sumo was still wary of him and didn't seem to believe his words, Bibidong couldn't help but take a deep breath and try to calm himself down, thinking about how to gain Sumo's trust in his heart. In thought, Bibidong recalled that Sumo had told her before. He was once adopted when he was a child, but unfortunately, the seemingly amiable couple did not actually intend to truly adopt him, but rather wanted to sell him. And because they just treat him as goods. So during this period, Sumo suffered a lot of torture and went through countless hardships before escaping. Afterwards, Sumo remained vigilant towards anyone who showed goodwill towards him. Unless the other party can provide evidence to prove that they really won't harm him. Thinking of this, Bibidong couldn't help but show a gentle smile to Sumo again, saying softly. Sorry. Maybe I'm too eager, but believe me, I really don't mean anything to you. I just saw you so pitiful and felt a little sorry for you, so I wanted to take you out of here and let you live a good life. I know you may doubt me, but believe me, I am a powerful soul master and I am also very wealthy, so there is no need for me to have any intentions towards you. Speaking, Bibidong summoned the Death Spider Emperor's martial soul, and 5 soul rings, yellow, purple, and black, rose from his feet. At the same time, he took out a bag full of gold soul coins from the storage soul guide and shook it in front of Sumo. Seeing this, Sumo finally let go of his guard and relaxed his body slightly. Can you be my younger brother in the future? My name is Bibidong, and you can just be my sister Donger. What's your name? Upon discovering that Sumo had finally accepted him, Bibidong couldn't help but feel heartbroken. He suddenly hugged Suemo tightly and asked softly in a choked voice. After being tightly hugged by Bibidong, Suemo felt the softness of Bibidong's chest and the fragrance emanating from the strands of hair drifting on the side of his cheeks from his nose. His body couldn't help but stiffen, and his face turned slightly red. Whether in his past or present life, this is the first time he has been embraced by the opposite sex, especially by such a beautiful person. My name is Suemo. Feeling the warmth of Bibidong's embrace, Suemo felt a bit warm in his heart. After a moment of silence, he couldn't help but whisper. Chapter 7. Notice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After accepting Bibidong, Suemo naturally got on the carriage with Bibidong and prepared to return to the martial Soul City. On the way back, Bibidong showed great care and love to Suemo, allowing him to experience a life far beyond what he had experienced when he first traveled. Being so cared for by the goddess Bibidong in her past life, Suemo couldn't help but become more satisfied with her wise decision when she felt warm in her heart. So, in a blink of an eye, a few days passed. In the blink of an eye, the carriage was about to arrive at the martial Soul City. And riding in a carriage, as they were about to arrive at the martial Soul City. When passing through the curtains, Suemo couldn't help but feel a bit shocked when he saw the Wuhuan city, which was not far away and presented in a hexagonal shape, with towering and thick city walls that looked extremely majestic and spectacular. Although Suemo had watched various high-rise buildings in his past life on television and the internet, witnessing such a towering ancient city with his own eyes was still quite heart-wrenching. On the side, I saw Suemo through the window of the carriage, looking at the distant martial Soul City. I was in a daze, as if I had been shocked. A hint of tenderness flashed on Bibidong's beautiful face, and he gently pulled Suemo closer to me and hugged her tightly. Chemo, do you feel particularly shocked when you see the martial Soul City? But don't worry, this will be your home from now on. There are many interesting things in the martial Soul City. When you return to the martial Soul City, my sister will take you everywhere to play, okay? Bibidong spoke gently to Suemo, as if coaxing a child. Although the current situation is indeed so. But Suemo could not help but blush and nod his head slightly. Although his slightly cold face did not ease, it seemed that he was looking forward to something and shy regarding this. Bibidong just smiled lightly and was not surprised by Suemo's reaction. On the contrary, he was quite emotional and couldn't help but hold Suemo tighter in his arms. Xiaoemo. It's been so many years, it's really fortunate to see you so shy again. The carriage drove slowly on the road and finally returned to the martial Soul City. After Bibidong returned, Chihiro, as the Pope, naturally received the news as soon as possible. What? You said the saint is back. In the magnificent papal palace, upon hearing the news of Bibidong's return, Chihiro-ji, who was sitting in his study dealing with the affairs of the martial Soul Hall, couldn't help but feel very happy and burst into laughter. Since the saint has returned, please let her come to see me immediately. She spent a lot of time hunting soul rings this time, and I don't know what soul beasts she killed. As a teacher, I must understand this. Yes. Your Majesty the Pope, I will go and have His Highness the Virgin come over immediately. Upon hearing Qianshuan's words, the Soul Master who came to report respectfully responded. However, just as he was about to turn around, he seemed to remember something again and couldn't help but understand. By the way, Your Majesty the Pope, it seems that His Highness the Virgin has brought back a child this time. It is said that this child is a homeless child, and His Highness the Virgin has brought him back. She also plans to take this child as her younger brother. Adopting a homeless child. Upon learning of Sumo's existence, Qianshuanji was stunned for a moment, but he didn't think much. Soon, he smiled directly and said, "Let's adopt it now." Donger's personality has always been so kind, but since Donger has adopted this child as his younger brother, let Donger bring him along too. Yes. On the other side, after entering the martial Soul City by carriage, Su Mo and Bibidong arrived at Bibidong's mansion together. However, before he could stay in the mansion for long, a soul master came to ask Bibidong to go with him to the papal palace and meet with Pope Chihiro. "Yes, I'll go see the teacher right away." Upon being summoned by Chihiroshi, Bibidong still responded politely and respectfully, just like before. But Su Mo could sense that Bibidong's grip on his hand suddenly tightened a lot. "Are you going to see the legendary Chamber of Secrets Douluo Qian soon?" Su Mo couldn't help but think to himself that he was about to meet Qian. Su Mo naturally detested the legendary Chamber of Secrets Douluo Qian, and in his heart, Qian must die. Whether it's for his own clear thinking or for his current sister Bibidong not to recall that dark past, he has a reason to do so. However, before that, it is still necessary to have Qian and others bring out Mr. Qian Renshue. He believes that Bibidong should also have the same ideas as him. "Let's go, Xiaomo. I'll take you to see my teacher." Under the leadership of Bibidong, Su Mo arrived at the papal palace all the way and saw the legendary Chamber of Secrets Douluo Qian. It has to be said that Chihiro's appearance is very impressive. Looking at the handsome Chihiro not far away, dressed in a golden papal robe, with a slender figure and long golden hair. Su Mo felt that if this guy traveled to Earth, he would definitely immediately become a globally popular idol, causing countless star-chasing women to scream. In front of this guy, what electric eels and silly roe deer are all spicy chickens. However, Qian was unaware of Su Mo's inner thoughts, and he never took Su Mo to heart. He just looked at the female disciple in front of him with a concerned smile and asked, "Donger, what soul rings did you absorb when you broke through the Soul King this time?" "Teacher, this time I have absorbed the soul ring of a 10,000-year-old burrow spider." Although he felt disgusted in his heart, Bibidong still pretended to be as kind and lovely as before, and smiled happily as he replied, "10,000-year-old dungeon spider. This type of soul beast is quite common and shouldn't be difficult to find. Why did you delay returning to the martial Soul City for so long?" Qian has some doubts. "This is because I finally went out and wanted to go around and relax, so when I came back, I wandered around some cities on the way, which delayed my time." Bibidong feels a bit embarrassed. "So it's like this." Qian smiled and continued to inquire about Bibidong's recent departure. And Bibidong also acted as usual, trusting and happy to tell Chihiro everything. However, in the end, before leaving, Bibidong seemed to have thought of something and couldn't help but ask Qian. "By the way, teacher, it seems that a few days will be the day of the awakening of the martial soul. Xiao Mo is just 6 years old this year, which happens to be the age to participate in the awakening of the martial soul. A few days later, the awakening of the martial soul, can Xiao Mo also participate? Is he also 6 years old this year?" Qian was a bit surprised, but he didn't take it too seriously. "Can he participate in the martial soul awakening?" "Of course, I will notify you. You can take him directly to participate when the time comes." Qian nodded and said. For Su Mo, Qian always believed that Su Mo was just a product of his disciple Bibidong's great kindness. Although in the martial Soul City, children must come from the martial Soul City background in order to participate in the martial soul awakening in the martial Soul City. But at least this Su Mo is also the nominal younger brother of disciple Bibidong, just giving him the qualification to participate in the martial soul awakening, which is not a big deal. It's just that in the martial Soul City, there hasn't been a person without soul power for many years, which has always been the pride of the martial Soul City. If Su Mo awakens a soulless martial soul, then don't be excluded and disgusted by other children, otherwise disciple Donger will definitely be in distress. Chapter 8. Meeting Qian Sun's illness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8. Meeting Qian Sun's illness. After accepting Bibidong, Su Mo naturally got on the carriage with Bibidong and prepared to return to the martial Soul City. On the way back, Bibidong showed great care and love to Su Mo, allowing him to experience a life far beyond what he had experienced when he first traveled. Being so cared for by the goddess Bibidong in her past life, Su Mo couldn't help but become more satisfied with her wise decision when she felt warm in her heart. So, in a blink of an eye, a few days passed. In the blink of an eye, the carriage was about to arrive at the martial Soul City. And riding in a carriage, as they were about to arrive at the martial Soul City. When passing through the curtains, Su Mo couldn't help but feel a bit shocked when he saw the Wuhuan city, which was not far away and presented in a hexagonal shape, with towering and thick city walls that looked extremely majestic and spectacular. Although Su Mo had watched various high-rise buildings in his past life on television and the internet, witnessing such a towering ancient city with his own eyes was still quite heart-wrenching. On the side, seeing Su Mo through the window of the carriage, looking at the distant martial Soul City, he was somewhat stunned, as if he had been shocked. A hint of tenderness flashed on Bibidong's beautiful face, and he gently pulled Su Mo closer to his arms and hugged him tightly. Xiaoma, do you feel particularly shocked when you see the martial Soul City? But don't worry, this will be your home from now on. There are many interesting things in the martial Soul City. When you return to the martial Soul City, my sister will take you everywhere to play, okay? Bibidong spoke gently to Su Mo, as if coaxing a child. Although the current situation is indeed so. But Su Mo could not help but blush and nod his head slightly. Although his slightly cold face did not ease, it seemed that he was looking forward to something and shy regarding this. Bibidong just smiled lightly and was not surprised by Su Mo's reaction. On the contrary, he was quite emotional and couldn't help but hold Su Mo tighter in his arms. Xiao Mo. It's been so many years, it's really fortunate to see you so shy again. The carriage drove slowly on the road and finally returned to the martial Soul City. After Bibidong returned, Chihiro, as the Pope, naturally received the news as soon as possible. What? You said the saint is back. In the magnificent papal palace, upon hearing the news of Bibidong's return, Chihiro-ji, who was sitting in his study dealing with the affairs of the martial Soul Hall, couldn't help but feel very happy and burst into laughter. Since the saint has returned, please let her come to see me immediately. She spent a lot of time hunting soul rings this time, and I don't know what soul beasts she killed. As a teacher, I must understand this. Yes. Your Majesty the Pope, I will go and have His Highness the Virgin come over immediately. Upon hearing Qianshuan's words, the Soul Master who came to report respectfully responded. However, just as he was about to turn around, he seemed to remember something again and couldn't help but understand. By the way, Your Majesty the Pope, it seems that His Highness the Virgin has brought back a child this time. It is said that this child is a homeless child, and His Highness the Virgin has brought him back. She also plans to take this child as her younger brother. Adopting a homeless child. Upon learning of Su Mo's existence, Qianshuanji was stunned for a moment, but he didn't think much. Soon, he smiled directly and said, "Let's adopt it now." Donger's personality has always been so kind, but since Donger has adopted this child as his younger brother, let Donger bring him along too. Yes. On the other side, after entering the martial Soul City by carriage, Su Mo and Bibidong arrived at Bibidong's mansion together. However, before he could stay in the mansion for long, a Soul Master came to ask Bibidong to go with him to the papal palace and meet with Pope Chihiro. Yes, I'll go see the teacher right away. Upon being summoned by Chihiroshi, Bibidong still responded politely and respectfully, just like before. But Su Mo could sense that Bibidong's grip on his hands suddenly tightened a lot. Are you going to see the legendary Chamber of Secrets Douluo Qianshuan soon? Su Mo couldn't help but think to himself that he was about to meet Qianshuan-ji. Su Mo naturally detested the legendary Chamber of Secrets Douluo Qianshuan-ji, and in his heart, Qianshuan-ji must die. Whether it's for his own clear thinking or for his current sister Bibidong not to recall that dark past, he has a reason to do so. However, before that, it was still necessary to let Qian give birth to Qian. He believed that Bibidong should also have the same idea as him. Let's go, Xiaomo. I'll take you to see my teacher. Under the leadership of Bibidong, Sumo arrived at the papal palace all the way and saw the legendary chamber of secrets Douluo Qian. It has to be said that Chihiro's appearance is very impressive. Looking at the handsome Chihiro not far away, dressed in a golden papal robe, with a slender figure and long golden hair. Sumo felt that if this guy traveled to Earth, he would definitely immediately become a globally popular idol, causing countless star-chasing women to scream. In front of this guy, what electric eels and silly roe deer are all spicy chickens. However, Qian was unaware of Sumo's inner thoughts, and he never took Sumo to heart. He just looked at the female disciple in front of him with a concerned smile and asked. Donger, what soul rings did you absorb when you broke through the Soul King this time? Teacher, this time I have absorbed the soul ring of a 10,000-year-old burrow spider. Although he felt disgusted in his heart, Bibidong still pretended to be as kind and lovely as before, and smiled happily as he replied. 10,000-year-old dungeon spider. This type of soul beast is quite common and shouldn't be difficult to find. Why did you delay returning to the martial soul city for so long? Qian has some doubts. This is because I finally went out and wanted to go around and relax, so when I came back, I wandered around some cities on the way, which delayed my time. Bibidong feels a bit embarrassed. So it's like this. Qian smiled and continued to inquire about Bibidong's recent departure. And Bibidong also acted as usual, trusting and happy to tell Chihiro everything. However, in the end, before leaving, Bibidong seemed to have thought of something and couldn't help but ask Qian. By the way, teacher, it seems that a few days will be the day of the awakening of the martial soul. Xiao Mo is just 6 years old this year, which happens to be the age to participate in the awakening of the martial soul. A few days later, the awakening of the martial soul, can Xiao Mo also participate? Is he also 6 years old this year? Qian was a bit surprised, but he didn't take it too seriously. Can he participate in the martial soul awakening? Of course, I will notify you. You can take him directly to participate when the time comes. Qian nodded and said. For Sumo, Qian always believed that Sumo was just a product of his disciple Bibidong's great kindness. Although in the martial soul city, children must come from the martial soul city background in order to participate in the martial soul awakening in the martial soul city. But at least this Sumo is also the nominal younger brother of disciple Bibidong, just giving him the qualification to participate in the martial soul awakening, which is not a big deal. It's just that in the martial soul city, there hasn't been a person without soul power for many years, which has always been the pride of the martial soul city. If Sumo awakens a soulless martial soul, then don't be excluded and disgusted by other children, otherwise disciple Donger will definitely be in distress. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Martial Soul Awakening. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Martial Soul Awakening. Several days passed in the blink of an eye. Soon it was time for the annual awakening of martial souls. On this day, early in the morning, the martial soul city became particularly lively. On the central square of the martial soul city, due to the fact that the awakening of the martial soul city will take place here, all the people of the martial soul city arrived here early on, surrounded by water. Everyone is eager to see what genius soul masters will be born in the martial soul city this year. In the world where soul masters dominate in Douluo continent, only soul masters are eternal stars. Xiaomo, I'm going to participate in the martial soul awakening later. Are you nervous now? On the other side, on the street not far from the empty space behind the center square of Wuhuan City, Bibidong couldn't help but fondly rub Sumo's hair and ask with a smile on his way to see him here. I'm a bit nervous. Sumo held Bibidong's jade hand and whispered after a moment of silence. Although Sumo had ample confidence in the upcoming awakening of his martial soul, he still had to maintain nervousness and unease on the surface. Hehe, don't be nervous. Sister, I believe you can awaken a powerful martial soul. No matter what anyone says to you later, don't take them to heart. They are all people without eyes. You just need to use your martial soul to blind their eyes later, okay? Seeing the unease on Sumo's face, Bibidong smiled and squatted down, using a pair of warm jade hands to touch Sumo's cheeks, gently comforting and encouraging him. Well, I got it, Sister Donger. Encouraged by Bibidong, Sumo also seemed to have gained great courage. He couldn't help but take a deep breath, clench his hands, and say with firm eyes. Hehe, Shemo is really good. Looking at Sumo's resolute gaze, Bibidong couldn't help but give Sumo a few hard kisses. Under the leadership of Bibidong, Sumo arrived all the way to the open space behind the central square of Wuhuan City. Here, many children have gathered to participate in the awakening of martial souls. These children, because they know each other, gather in groups of 3 or 5 and talk to each other. Sumo stood alone here, appearing somewhat out of place with the others. However, Sumo didn't take it to heart either. He didn't originally plan to hang out with a group of little brats. But when Sumo chose a big tree and sat under it waiting. Due to Bibidong's departure, the children around couldn't help but turn their gaze to Sumo, and waves of discussion inevitably reached Sumo's ears. Hey! Do you know the guy sitting under the big tree next to him? I heard he was brought back by His Highness Saint Bibidong. Cut. He is indeed the person brought back by His Highness the Holy Maiden, but he is just a wandering beggar. It is estimated that 9 out of 10 awakened souls are useless martial souls, which has lowered the appearance rate of soul masters in our martial soul city's martial soul awakening. Ah! Is he just a beggar? His Highness the Virgin brought back a beggar. I heard he was also adopted by His Highness the Virgin as his younger brother. His luck is also too good. I should also be adopted by His Highness the Virgin. Woo-woo. Humph. It's just a stroke of luck. When the martial soul awakens later, watch him be knocked back to his original form. What a group of people who only envy, and hate. Not far away, listening to various words filled with envy, jealousy, and hatred in his ears, Sumo leaned against the big tree, sleeping expressionlessly, as if he had heard nothing, but his heart was full of disdain. These guys actually seem to see him embarrass himself when his martial soul awakens. I'm afraid he's overthinking it. Later, but the moment when he shocked the martial soul city. With the passage of time and the anticipation of countless people, the annual martial soul awakening ceremony in Martial Soul City is finally about to begin. As the martial soul awakening ceremony was about to begin, a red-clothed archbishop arrived at the central square of Martial Soul City and climbed onto the high platform that had already been set up on the square, loudly starting the preaching before the ceremony began. Anyway, it's about thanking the heavens, thanking the earth, thanking the Pope, thanking the Martial Soul Hall, and then looking back, looking forward to the future, hoping that the Martial Soul Hall will create another brilliant future. Afterwards, after paying tribute to Qian Xuanji and others at the VIP table not far away, the Martial Soul Awakening ceremony officially began. Now, the Martial Soul ceremony has officially begun. Please line up the people who have read their names and come on stage one by one to awaken their martial souls. On the high platform of the central square of the Martial Soul City, after speaking the rules, the Archbishop in red, who was responsible for hosting this Martial Soul Awakening ceremony, took out the list and began reciting loudly the names of the people who were about to undergo the Martial Soul Awakening. Lin Ao, Xia Yuro, Su Xing, Bai Changtian, Su Aoran. Under the recitation of the Archbishop in red, on the empty space behind the central square of the Martial Soul City, 6-year-old boys and girls who were called out by their names stood in line with confidence, walking towards the central square of the martial soul city. The first boy to awaken his martial soul was Lin Ao, dressed in black, with short black hair and a proud face. After climbing onto the high platform for the awakening of martial souls, there was no need for the Red Archbishop, who was responsible for presiding over the awakening, to direct Lin Ao to the awakening formation and close his eyes. And seeing that Lin Ao was ready, the Archbishop in red, who was responsible for hosting the awakening of the martial soul, also summoned the martial soul. With a soft shout, he injected soul power into the black raw stones that formed the awakening formation of the martial soul on the ground. In an instant, countless golden dots constantly dissipated and poured into Lin Ao's body. Afterwards, amidst the attention of countless people around, Lin Ao felt that the golden light he had absorbed had reached its limit. The Red Archbishop immediately shouted, "Summon your martial soul." Brush. With a loud shout from the Archbishop in red, Lin Ao instantly opened his eyes shining brightly. In the next moment, a huge crimson tiger suddenly emerged from behind Lin Ao, roaring up to the sky, waving its teeth and claws in a majestic manner. "It's the Red Flame Tiger." Around, someone loudly called out the name of Lin Ao's soul. "Red Flame Tiger. It's pretty good. It should be able to awaken soul power of level 5 or above." Seeing that Lin Ao was awakened by the Red Flame Tiger martial soul, the Archbishop in charge of martial soul awakening thought to himself and took out a crystal ball from the storage soul guide to test his soul power and handed it to Lin Ao. "Test your soul power." After receiving the crystal ball, Lin Ao placed his hand on it, and in the next moment, a dazzling blue light burst out from the crystal ball. On the side, seeing the light emanating from the crystal ball, the Archbishop in red, who was responsible for awakening the martial soul, immediately announced loudly, "Lin Ao, innate level 6 soul power." "What? I only have innate level 6 soul power." When he heard the words of the Archbishop in red, Lin Ao's face immediately became very ugly, and he couldn't help but clench his hands tightly, his heart full of unwillingness. In the Douluo continent, although there is no clear division of martial soul levels, according to the level of innate soul power, martial souls are generally divided into 4 levels. Innate levels 1 to 3 soul power are low-level martial souls, innate levels 4 to 6 are intermediate martial souls, innate levels 7 to 9 are advanced martial souls, and innate full soul power is top-level martial souls. Of course, this division is not entirely accurate. For example, a Haotian Hammer Soul Master may not have innate full soul power even after awakening their martial soul, but the Haotian Hammer martial soul is still a top-level martial soul. In fact, the level of a martial soul depends more on the highest innate soul power that this martial soul has ever had. And innate soul power is more determined by a soul master's cultivation talent. However, the highest level of the Red Flame Tiger martial soul has appeared at level 7, making it a high-level martial soul. However, Lin Ao's innate soul power is only level 6, which naturally makes him extremely unwilling and disappointed. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Sumo's Martial Soul. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. After Lin Ao completed his martial soul awakening. Afterwards, others also climbed onto the high platform one after another, and under the guidance of the Archbishop in red, who was responsible for the abbot of the martial soul awakening ceremony, began their own martial soul awakening. But unfortunately, among those who will awaken their martial souls later on, the highest innate soul power is only innate level 8 soul power, and there is no innate level 9 soul power or even innate full soul power in people. Has it not arrived at me yet? As time passed, Sumo couldn't help but frown as he discovered a group of people waiting for the awakening of the martial soul on the grassland behind the central square of the martial soul city. However, they were unable to pronounce their names for a long time. Is he being placed on the last finale? In fact, Sumo did not guess wrong, and his ranking was indeed placed last. As for the reason, it is because Qian felt that Su Mo could not awaken a soul with soul power and become a soul master, which would undoubtedly make Su Mo the laughing stock of the Soul City. Qian undoubtedly doesn't care at all about what Su Mo will do, but due to the relationship between Su Mo and disciple Bibidong, Qian did not want disciple Bibidong to be criticized for being implicated by Su Mo. So in order to minimize the impact, Qian arranged Su Mo's ranking to the end. In that case, even if Su Mo embarrasses himself at the martial soul awakening ceremony, as the ceremony will soon end, it will not greatly affect his disciple Bibidong. Forget it, let's just put an end to it. It depends on the situation. This time, there hasn't been any particularly talented genius in the Martial Soul City's Martial Soul Awakening ceremony. The highest talent is only innate level 8 soul power. In this way, when I finally appeared, I was originally looked down upon by countless people and not favored at all, but then I awakened a martial soul with innate soul power. I believe countless people would be stunned at that time. Realizing that he was likely scheduled for the final awakening of his martial soul, Su Mo frowned, but in the end, he didn't take it to heart. Instead, he thought playfully in his heart. Although pretending to be forced is shameful. But in front of countless people, he fiercely slapped all those who had looked down on him before. He couldn't resist that feeling. The next group to come on stage, Lin Yu, Fang Fei. Su Mo. Amidst Su Mobai's bored wait. When Su Mo finally heard his name from the direction of the central square of the Martial Soul City, he couldn't help but open his eyes and sat up from the big tree leaning against him. Ha! Have you finally reached me? With a glimmer of anticipation in his eyes, Su Mo stood up and followed the last remaining group of people on the grass to the central square of the Martial Soul City. They lined up in the back and waited. Finally, it's Xiaomo. On the other side, at the VIP seat not far from the central square of Wuhuan City, when he saw that Su Mo had finally appeared, Bibidong felt a little happy in his heart. Although as the saint of the Martial Soul Hall, she has always been known to the public for her gentle and kind personality, no one says that Bibidong should not adopt Su Mo or anything. After all, even if Su Mo cannot become a soul master, Bibidong can still afford to raise an ordinary child. But Bibidong knows that many people are very resistant to Su Mo. The reason is that the Martial Soul City is a holy land for soul masters in the entire Douluo continent. Almost all of them live in the Martial Soul City, and even the waiters in the restaurant are soul masters. And soul masters and their descendants can almost 100% become soul masters. So this makes it possible for all the children who participate in the annual awakening of the Martial Soul in the Martial Soul City to become soul masters almost 100%. This is a place that many residents of Wuhuan City take pride in, overlooking other cities. Therefore, many people naturally do not like the sudden appearance of Su Mo as a hindrance. Although it is inevitable that this situation will occur, Bibidong is still very angry for Su Mo based on his current feelings towards him. Now, Bibidong is extremely eager to see that Su Mo can awaken a powerful martial soul in front of everyone, fiercely hit everyone's face, and make everyone look new. Next, Su Mo. In Bibidong's expectant gaze, on the high platform of the central square of the Martial Soul City, the Archbishop in red, who was responsible for hosting this awakening of the martial soul, finally read Su Mo's name. Upon hearing the call to himself, Sumotun walked calmly towards the high platform. Ah! This time at the Martial Soul Awakening ceremony, there is not even a soul master with innate 9th level soul power or full soul power. As Su Mo walked towards the high platform, while waiting, the Archbishop in red recalled the last child who had guided the awakening just now. After awakening his martial soul, his innate soul power was still only at level 7, and he could not reach level 9 or even level 10. He couldn't help but feel some regret in his heart. As the most powerful force in the Douluo continent, the Martial Soul Hall has always wanted to demonstrate the strength to surpass any of the 3 sects in any aspect. In terms of power and financial resources, the martial soul hall has already achieved this. But during the annual awakening of the martial soul, the appearance of geniuses does not show absolute overwhelming power in the martial soul hall. Because as the leading family of the martial soul hall, although the martial soul is the strongest in the entire Douluo continent, the number of people has always been sparse. Although the martial soul hall faces the entire Douluo continent to excavate soul masters, the probability of producing top talents is still not as good as several families with top martial souls. There's only one child left, I don't know. Seeing that Sumo had already taken office, the Archbishop in red couldn't help but instinctively think, but before he could finish thinking, he shook his head somewhat amusedly. What are you thinking? This child is just a wandering child casually adopted by the saint. It would be great if he could awaken a martial soul with soul power. He even hoped that he could have a talent for innate 9th level soul power. Close your eyes and prepare to sense the martial soul inside your body. After Sumo stepped onto the stage and saw that he had already stepped into the martial soul awakening formation, the Archbishop in red couldn't help but shout loudly and quickly thrust soul power into the black raw stones that formed the martial soul awakening formation. In an instant, golden dots scattered from the black raw stone, enveloping Sumo and continuously pouring into his body. On the other hand, when he heard the words of the Archbishop in red, Sumo also closed his eyes and began to sense the martial soul inside his body. As he closed his eyes and a steady stream of golden light entered his body, following his instinctive guidance, Sumo's consciousness inexplicably arrived in a vast and profound pitch-black space. This is Sumo's sea of consciousness. At this moment, in front of Sumo, there were 3 dazzling lights emitting different colors, which were extremely extraordinary at first glance. Among them, one is a black sickle that exudes an endless sense of death, one is a staff that looks like an ordinary branch, but seems to be carved from jade, emitting an endless breath of life, and the other is a fallen angel wearing a black robe with a face similar to Sumo, but carrying 6 pairs of black wings. These are the 3 types of martial souls that Sumo has chosen for himself. The death sickle, the staff of the tree of life, and the 12-winged fallen angel.